Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for bout number 4 of the evening. Please welcome to K-Side, Brett Healy.
The action continues here tonight, live from Birmingham. Brett Healy en route to the ring. A very experienced fighter, Dean. He's got 12 fights to his name, the Mafia MMA product from Coventry in a bantamweight professional contest. Brett, very excited. The type of exciting fighter that takes risks and chances. Dean, that's really what the fans have come out to see tonight. We've seen incredible, spectacular finishes, but Brett is going to look to up the ante.
Really savvy in his striking game and also his grappling game. He's able to get out of really precarious positions. He's almost like a snake and slither out and then try and slap on his own submission.
And you've got to think, Dean, when you've approached the point in your career, kind of over the 10-fight mark, there really isn't a whole lot you haven't seen.
Extensive experience, great work from Mafia MMA.
And his opponent, please welcome Phillips.
And Ant Phillips, Ultimate Training Center veteran, again, a veteran of a high-level fight career for quite some time. He's well-rounded, loves the submissions in the ground and pound. And Dean, he was very wary of the fact that his opponent's been around on the circuit. He knows his opponent will be ready if it hits the mat. But Ant just feels a little bit better, particularly the way he's been learning lately.
He's collectively worked all the skills in MMA. The grappling, alleviated on his strike, and really fine-tuned it, Chris, coming into this fight. He's looking to become the MMAC's bantamweight champion.
And he was very, very clear about the fact that in UTC, they prepare for every eventuality. So Ant has the confidence, he has the work ethic, and he has the type of guys that are training and competing at the highest level, the UFC, the EFC, his teammates, you know, headlining the show tonight, the co-main and the main in particular. So Ant looking ready to make things happen. Back to Buddy Johnson.
Ladies and gentlemen, we get ready for 3 5-minute rounds in the professional bantamweight division. This bout sponsored by Vitargo. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man weighed in officially at 61.4 kilograms. He has a professional record of 4 wins with 8 losses, 0 draws. Fighting out of Coventry, England, he is Brett Healy. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner. This man weighed in officially at 61.2 kilograms. This man has a professional record of 9 wins with 8 losses and 0 draws. Fighting out of Birmingham, England, he is Ant Phillips. When the action begins, your referee in charge, Simon Small.
The tail of the tape for this one, a professional matchup over 3 5-minute rounds at bantamweight. 28 years old for Ant Phillips, Healy 37. Both men very experienced indeed, and both, Dean, have an excellent grappling pedigree. 80% of those wins for Phillips by submission. Healy, a very tight ground game too. How long will it stay standing? It's round 1 happening here at the Mixed Martial Arts Championships.
Watch for Healy's kickboxing background. He likes to bounce back and forward, do damage, and get out of range. He moves out really well. Gauging the distance there, he's pouring out with his lead hand, switches stances.
The thing I love about Healy is the way he corrals strikes, the battle for the lead hand, a very important aspect of the kickboxing game.
Phillips here on the outside, looking to get in for the takedown. Beautifully sets it up with strikes, that's key. Now working for the takedown, trying to lose the hips there. But Healy able to fend it off for now. Oh, looking for the hip toss, but gives up his back.
And I'm telling you, you can't sleep on Healy's ground skills. This guy has been all over the fight game, and though he was originally a kickboxer, he knows his way around the mat. He's a real locksmith.
Really looking for that shoulder pressure, caught in half guard. Back to full guard now. Great job by Ant Phillips. Pulling his counterpart. He's going to pull down on the head and try and tie up those arms, because Healy's going to rain down those big bombs if he gets a chance.
Healy doing a great job here, though, of avoiding any sort of active guard position from Phillips. Ant, though, doing a great job of shrimping and recovering full guard here and locking those legs up.
Overhook on the arm there. Could potentially offer a triangle if he could pass the other arm through his legs, moving the hips.
And I like the shifting that Ant is doing, and you can notice the way that Healy is slowly pushing him up towards the fence to nullify that position. Healy thinking about standing up to pass here, but got to watch those arms being deep. Much better there as Healy pummels out.
Very good anti-grappling work there by Brett Healy. Pin a guy up against the cage who wants to grapple you. You can nullify his hips. You see Brett's keeping his hips and he's forcing down on Ant Phillips there. Oh, he could be looking for a triangle here.
And Phillips doing a great job of controlling the wrists at times. Healy wise to that, keeping both arms in. One arm in being the danger zone. Again, see him pushing that wrist through. Phillips unable to secure that position, thinking about the stand-up, and then Healy drags him back away to prevent that move up against the mesh. So there's a lot of countering going on here, Dean. A lot of minute movements. And from the camera angle here, you can notice the way that Phillips is controlling with that overhook quite nicely, and then Healy negates that.
A lot of invisible jiu-jitsu going on here. He's stopping the strikes getting through, limiting the damage, and it's all very feasible techniques and very effective. Oh, he's used it to stand up, very good. Eats the knee.
And the fluidity in which Healy stood up, controlled the Muay Thai plum, lands a knee, swaps stances, and gets very comfortable on the outside.
Phillips loosened up a little bit now. Let's see if he can let these punches and kicks go to set up the takedown, but perhaps do some damage because he knows Brett is really good in the kickboxing realm. Nice knee. Unfortunately, gives up his leg for the takedown. Phillips now diligently working to suck those hips away from the cage.
And with a little bit of foresight, we can now see the game plan of what appears to be for the UTC team ground-oriented. But no doubt Phillips on the right end of the exchange right now, on top, looking to improve his position out of half guard here.
Healy very savvy to pick that half guard on the way down. He was getting taken down, but he managed to secure that leg, thinking ahead. Testament to his ground game. It's like he's looking to go back to full guard, but Phillips senses that, keeps the pressure down on the head, uses some shoulder shots to soften him up.
In that position, very uncomfortable, Dean.
Phillips using that shoulder pressure to distract, often can choke if it goes onto the throat while he tries to pass. It's a distraction game while he gets his other leg out to perhaps go to the mount or side control.
But Healy certainly very aware of that and thinking about the Kimura. Very difficult, though, to finish from half guard.
He could potentially turn it into a sweep. If he can sweep Phillips over the top of him and end up on top, he could finish the Kimura here. But Phillips, as we know, very savvy, looking to drive his arm out, doing some damage to the body.
And Ant Phillips holding on here for dear life. He may look to ride this one out. Beautiful stuff, though, from Healy. I love that. You let the guy pass. You bait him for the pass, Dean, but then it was the counter from Healy that found the eventual top control here. Look at that. Healy is all over him.
It was that key, that Kimura sweep, and now he's ended up on full mount. And Phillips opts to turn, but that could be a problem issue if he gives up his back. Senses it, comes back to mount. Looking for the half guard there. So he's clasping both his legs around the ankle of Healy there, looking for the half guard to turn in. Much better position there, full mount in the back. Two of the worst positions to be in.
And Ant Phillips did a great job there of trying to use that empty half guard to recover Dean, but Healy threatening with some submissions. Ant getting the takedown certainly very nicely there with about 2 minutes to go in the round. But your reflections on how things went down on the feet, it seemed to me Ant Phillips is keen to get this one to the mat ASAP.
Brett Healy, on the jiu-jitsu circuit at the moment, there's a lot of talk about Kimuras setting up everything, arm bars, back takes, and the sweep. We saw that sweep now. He used that Kimura to set up that sweep, and it turned around the fight. He was on top.
But if you look at how the kickboxing went down, do you think this is a failed strategy for Phillips to go down?
Phillips needs to do what he did when he first came out in the first round. He needs to set up his strikes for the takedown. He needs to watch the sweeps. We know that Healy is really savvy on his feet, and he's looking to gauge that distance. He won't commit too much. Phillips needs to keep his hands up and disguise his takedowns with his punches and kicks.
Well, there's some great corner work going on right now. The Healy camp calling for the knee, and absolutely as predicted, Ant being instructed to set up those takedowns and really mask them with combinations. It's round two here. Chris Hoekstra on the mic with Dean Midhat, my main man and partner in crime. Round 2 here in the MMAC. And we are back at it in Birmingham.
Brett Healy, nice double jab, nice body kick. Right hand finds its mark. Let's see if he can implement these knees when Phillips comes in for a takedown. If he gets tagged, he might throw a takedown out of desperation. See Healy there, he leans back. He's got brilliant balance. He's able just to evade and keep that perfect kickboxing stance where he can still throw any technique off and move his head. Excellent work there on the outside, commanding the center of the cage. Now, if it goes to the judge's decision, that is going to put him in favor. Nice knee there. Sprawl to see if he can stop the takedown, doing the right thing, using his legs, spreading his base. Look for him to go for the underhooks here.
And the thing I like about Healy is you mentioned staying in balance and staying in position. He did a very good job of mixing things up, but Phillips capitalizing on what could be a very key early takedown in this round.
Phillips again using that top body pressure, but he really needs to start passing his legs there. He just tried to go to the side control, but Healy really savvy on the ground and caught that lazy half guard. He needs to start thinking about keeping that pressure on his head and almost TPing his body, coming up, sticking his butt in the air almost and starting to pass, keep the pressure on Healy on the bottom. At the moment, he's flat-bodied. He needs to start progressing.
And you notice the way that Ant is slowly trying to sneak and clear that knee and slice out of half guard. Thinking about possibly attacking with an Americana there, but...
Looking for the arm there. He's isolated that arm. Perhaps going for Kimura. It's difficult to finish, still in the half guard, but it is possible if you hike your opponent up.
I thought the Americana was the original attempt, but nonetheless, the arm indeed isolated. And if nothing else, Dean, that's a lever to improve the position, surely.
There's a possibility for straight arm bars, Americana or key lock, and the Kimura. That's the key. There's a lot of threats. Nice mount there. Wow. Healy very savvy. Oi, and a beautiful sweep from the bottom. Healy is still in this fight.
And the way Healy locks down the left arm to secure that sweep was nothing short of spectacular. Ties it up, wrestler's roll all the way over. That's the time to use the energy, Dean. That's the game of MMA. At times, you need to conserve, and at times it needs to be 110%.
Could be said that Phillips on the top was conserving too much energy. If he was putting down strikes, perhaps looking for a triangle here, difficult with his leg trapped like that. Healy senses it and pulls out of it. And the big punches now from Healy.
And the ground defense awareness from Healy has been just outstanding. Big knee for Healy lands.
Looking for the body, gonna go up to the head.
Desperation mode for Ant Phillips, lunging in the head inside single. Clasp those hands together, but gonna be tough right now with the hip distribution. And look at the way that Healy controls his right ankle.
Working on the wrestling there, feeding through to keep that position, keep him trapped where he is. He doesn't want Phillips to be able to switch through or circle round to secure that single leg. He's keeping that pressure straight down the body there.
And Ant Phillips, very impressive. I mean, a chin of iron, the heart, the determination, the stick-withedness, if you will. But Healy, keen to exploit, as we said. And that was very much the game plan, as well as one of the key questions about this stylistic matchup, Dean.
Healy losing the underhooks there and the whizzer to hike his opponent up to stop him attacking those legs. Looking to his corner now for some advice. Looking to look for that switch. He's going to reach and feed his arm through the legs of Ant Phillips. But Ant Phillips, nice inside trip. Sends Healy to the mat.
Healy talking to his corner. They're telling him to stuff that head and try and stand up. But the way that Ant Phillips is controlling the waistline right now, sucking those hips away will make this difficult.
And Ant Phillips here, quite complacent to sit here. It seems to me like he's catching a breather. He's going to catch a breather and come up with something spectacular. Looks like he wants to try and suck the hips away from Healy, away from the cage, draw him away and start implementing his jiu-jitsu to improve his position.
And this is an exhausting position really for both men. On one hand, Ant being relentless, Healy trying to seize the opportune moment. You can see the way he's actually controlling the left arm actually of Phillips right now. There's a darce there.
Nice sprawl there. Again, difficult with the cage. If Phillips walks up and takes his opponent with him, could go for the high crotch here.
He's going to go to the double, Dean, but he's got to watch that neck.
Oh.
Healy was really threatening that, standing guillotine, then opens up for the knee. Beautiful. I love that. Threaten a submission and then loading up the knee.
Massive knee. Oh my goodness. Switched it back beautifully. Head hunting now. Phillips out of desperation, looking for that single leg.
And the camp certainly for Healy smelling the finish there. It's been a very similar round in some ways, but an evolution, Dean, of round one, where on one hand, we saw Phillips pressing the takedown, but the punishment of Brett Healy certainly also showing its toll and wear.
Healy just showing he is well-rounded and he's here to fight. I love the way he thinks on the spot. Something happens, he instantly switches, and he's looking to his corner. He's really complacent of being in this fight. The lights and the crowd don't faze him. He's in there to win it. Ant Phillips, noticeably tired there in his corner. He needs to start implementing his jiu-jitsu, start trying to pass to get dominant positions and not sit on the takedowns too long and waste energy trying to constantly take Healy down. Wait for the ample opportunity. He needs to be careful of those knees. When he puts his head down and 3 points are not on the ground, he can eat those big knees from Healy.
And you mentioned the knees, Dean. Those were some of the most punishing strikes from Healy, but Phillips able to take him down, unable to pass as often as I think he'd like to. I think the cards are all on the table. It's all on the line. Mixed Martial Arts Championship, bringing you the very best and brightest in MMA. The action rolls on here tonight in Birmingham, round 3. Chris Hoekstra on the mic, Dean Medhat here with you live. And Phillips certainly looking to try to set up combinations. On the flip side, though, you can see Healy eager to stay off the fence. He doesn't want his back up against the edge of space.
Cardio is going to play a factor now in this third round. Both fighters have given it their all. They've been on the ground. They've used strikes. Let's see now if this plays a part. Healy seems to be complacent. He strikes and moves off beautifully. Phillips coming down, straight down the line. He's thinking about cutting some angles and putting a shot, a wrestling shoot on the end of them.
And the key thing moving, oh my, you can see, I was going to say, the way that he moves very linearly straight in, Dean, becoming a little bit predictable, and Healy has read that on multiple occasions. But that being said, Phillips in the clinch and pressing Healy against where he doesn't want to be here.
Phillips doing the right thing there. He's giving his weight to his opponent, but almost too much. And Healy switching out of the cage there. Beautiful stuff.
Incredible stuff. Stiff jab from Ant Phillips.
And Phillips on the outside eats a big leg kick from Healy.
And you look at Healy, he's a little bit more flat-footed than he was in the first round, but that's just the cardio. That's just the oxygen debt, Dean.
Healy looking on the outside, looking for the counter. You notice he's holding back there. He's got his hands quite low. He's going to load up for a power. Turning back kick. A display of beautiful skills from Healy.
And Ant Phillips, again, punches his way into the clinch, but ends up on the wrong side of the takedown attempt. It's Healy on top.
Healy able to just piece together his techniques. They intertwine perfectly. Almost like he's sewing a duvet that's just a beautiful picture of MMA skills, and he's implementing tonight. He's looking to isolate that arm so he can do some punishment. Nice elbows there.
And these are short, but they're accurate. They're not causing much really in the way of harm, but the obstruction, as you said, Dean, as you highlighted earlier, sometimes it's those little pitter-patter shots that set up the pass or an improvement of position. So,
distraction techniques from Healy on the top. Phillips utilizing the guard there, just got to pop his left leg out to retain the full guard, but he really needs to start working and try and get in a dominant position and try and submit. Healy very complacent, using the elbows, using the head pressure beautifully to keep Phillips up against that cage. And when he's ready, he'll put a shot in just like that. Beautiful short elbow.
And that bicep pummel is very key to pin your opponent down, Dean, and then goes right into the elbow. I love that technique, the way he controls the biceps with both palms and then goes into the elbow. That is ground and pound. That is intelligent. But it's been a guard recovery for Ant here.
Healy got that left arm pinned of Phillips behind the back. Usually use that to pass. You're going to pass the same time as the isolated arm. Up against the cage, it's going to be difficult on that side.
And that's also an underutilized technique. cheeky little heels. You can hit the quad. Obviously the liver or the spleen there on either side.
Nice short elbows from Healy from the top. He's really working. He's racking up points on the cards.
There's a great video on YouTube with Eric Paulson actually showing that technique, Dean. I think it's something along the lines of Eric Paulson technique ground and pound, or Eric Paulson shows ground techniques. Really interesting to see the way that he shows guys how to use that actually off their back out of full guard. But forget about the encyclopedia and the knowledge. We've got mayhem here in the middle of the ring where both fighters have really pushed each other to the limit, tested each other, Dean, asked great questions on the feet and on the mat. But it's on the floor for now. You get the feeling the longer Healy's able to stay on top and nullify anything for Ant off his back, that this might be what it needs to steal the fight.
Brett Healy racking up the points, still in the open guard of Phillips. Very complacent to sit in the open guard of Phillips. Very comfortable there. Looking for the triangle attempt, but again, these later rounds, the sweat plays dividends. Often an opponent can slip out of submissions very easily. Healy stuffing the hips, looking for the armbar. Oh, that looks tight, Chris.
He's got it. That looks really good.
Modified legs there, looking to keep the pressure down.
And you can see the way that Brett Healy is trying to clear that elbow. A grimace, a look of pain. It might be just enough to escape, and saved by the bell. You look at the expression on his face as that one was slapped on. Healy raises his hands, thinks he's done enough to steal it. Ant Phillips, no doubt frustrated that the clock ran out there. That was as close as he's been to finishing this bout, Dean. What an incredible fight. The type of fight you want to see a couple more rounds of.
Just too little too late from Phillips. He had that really tight armbar, and Healy, you could see the panic on his face. But it was almost luck that he was pinned up against the cage, because he wasn't able to stand up or be allowed to his head be pushed backwards to extend his arm out, which would have made it even worse. And again, Phillips in his corner looking tired. On the defense there with Healy on top, landing those beautiful short elbows, textbook stuff from Brett Healy.
And a show of respect from both veterans of the game. As we said earlier tonight, Dean, MMAC all about bringing some of the guys who have been around, some of the guys who know what it takes to succeed at the highest level, and some of the up-and-comers who want to steal that limelight. But for now, Healy and Phillips certainly putting on a show for the packed-out arena here tonight in Birmingham at the Q Club.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for both fighters. Come on. 3 exciting rounds, and we go to our judges' scorecards. Judge 1 scores about 30-27, Judge 2 30-27, and Judge 3 30-26 to your winner by unanimous decision in the blue corner, Brett Healy. Ladies and gentlemen, show your love for Ant Phillips.